Let me remind y'all that Melania, the First Lady, a model, and when I say model, I'm not talking about Tyra Banks, Cindy Crawford, or Naomi Campbell level, applied for and was given an EB-1 visa. And what that stands for is an Einstein visa.
They say silence is classy, but sometimes silence hides too much. And on that night, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett wasn't here for silence. She sat on that stage, looked straight into the camera, and said, Melania Trump, the First Lady, a model, got what's called an Einstein visa. But I'm not seeing any genius in how our tax dollars are being used. The studio froze. The host blinked, trying to pivot the conversation back to budget transparency. But Jasmine didn't blink. She leaned forward and dropped the line that blew up the internet. If taxpayers are footing the bill for designer caviar and imported orchids while school lunches are being cut, then yes, we have a right to ask questions. That one sentence hit harder than a headline. The crowd gasped. Melania's name started trending. Within minutes, the Trump machine was on defense. Because what Jasmine said wasn't just about one party. It was about a pattern, a system where luxury and politics feed off the same plate, paid for by you. Jasmine's calm confidence sliced through the noise. She wasn't ranting. She wasn't reckless. She had receipts. Months of oversight records, FOIA requests, all ignored until now. The kind of paper trail that makes the powerful start to sweat. By the time she walked off that set, the clip had already hit 2 million views. And guess who was watching from the 64th floor of Trump Tower? Barron Trump, the youngest Trump, furious, protective, and apparently ready to act. Because by the next morning, the D.C. Metro Police were calling Jasmine's office. This is Sergeant Duca. We've received a harassment complaint filed against you by Barron Trump. Let that sink in. An 18-year-old calling the cops over a budget hearing. Jasmine didn't blink. She hung up the phone, smiled faintly, and said, I guess we hit a nerve. But this wasn't a random stunt. It was strategy, a coordinated move to flip the narrative from corruption to victimhood. Within hours, headlines screamed, Barron Trump accuses Congresswoman of harassment. And suddenly, the story wasn't about Melania's spending. It was about Jasmine's tone. But Jasmine, she wasn't built to back down. She stepped outside her Capitol Hill office, cameras flashing, reporters shouting, and with that signature steel in her voice, she said, I have never reached out to the Trump family in any personal capacity. My comments were directed at spending, not spouses. She paused. This isn't harassment. This is oversight. And just like that, boom, the narrative flipped again. Social media erupted. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag #StandWithCrockett started trending nationwide. Teachers, nurses, veterans, people who'd never watched a House hearing in their lives were suddenly tuning in. Because it wasn't just about Melania anymore. It was about all of them. About how their money gets spent while they struggle to survive. And Jasmine had just given their frustration a microphone. Meanwhile, in the White House, the panic was real. Leaks started pouring out. Turns out Jasmine was right. Those private Mar-a-Lago events? Publicly funded. $137,000 just for floral arrangements. Hundreds of thousands more for imported wine, private jets, luxury decor, all tucked into vague expense lines. Jasmine didn't gloat. She didn't tweet a meme. She just posted 4 words. Light reveals everything. Then attached a PDF with the receipts. The internet went nuclear. The White House tried to spin it, but every defense made things worse. And while the Trump family fought online, Jasmine kept working offline. She appeared before the House Oversight Committee, calm, poised, and locked in. "My job," she said, "is not to make people comfortable. It's to tell the truth, whether it offends the powerful or not." The room went silent. Even her critics couldn't argue, because when someone brings proof, not politics, you can't just tweet it away. By that night, major news networks had switched tone. Even conservative commentators admitted the numbers don't lie. This wasn't a partisan hit. It was a wake-up call, a reminder that no one, not even the First Lady, is above accountability. And Barron's police stunt? It only made Jasmine's case stronger, because it showed exactly what she was fighting against: power, trying to silence truth. By week's end, the Oversight Committee had formally announced a review into all First Lady expenditures. The story had grown beyond the Trumps. It was now about every taxpayer, every dollar that vanishes into luxury while Americans tighten their belts. And Jasmine? She didn't blink. She didn't boast. She just kept moving, one truth at a time. Because that's her power. While others play politics, she plays facts. So when Barron Trump called the cops thinking he could intimidate her, he didn't just start a feud. He started a fire. One that Melania couldn't hide behind her orchids, and one the White House couldn't spin away. Because once the truth catches light, it burns through privilege.